And radio check, radio check. Come in, everybody. Webbo here. Hi to Ghost. We are testing sound. Radio check, 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Okay, we have got some sound. If you're tuning in early, please hit that like button and the hype button if it's available to you. Super helpful. Hope everybody's doing well. Okay. Getting hyped up and ready for this one. Had some fantastic Black Flag Premier races so far this season. Let's hope this one is no different. Just trying to make sure I've got all our driver windows up and available. We are missing a few drivers today. Sorry to say. Certainly a few streamers anyway. Where are we? Let's have a look. Who have we got? Well, this is certainly how the qualifying positions are standing. We've got Alpha ahead of Angel. Not much in it at all. 4/10 over the course of a long Snetterton lap. Angel is second and Monarch in third. We have Aries running fourth, Elite Rain fifth, Nate in sixth. New driver to me anyway, Humanoid Forest. Chappie at the back of the GT3 field, which is 8 cars strong. Alohi currently leads the GT4s ahead of Hunter, Slambonin, and GTX Dave. Expect GTX Dave to suddenly go quicker, and there he go. As we speak, GTX Dave now on the GT4 pole. Let's try and find him, shall we? Where have we got it? There he is in his Gulf-coloured Janetta, his Kessel Run Racing coloured Janetta, I should say. Hi to Ghost, who is watching while unfortunately not able to race with us today. I believe Ghost called into work, unfortunately. But just marking, Ghost has been a member of my channel, where you can see the join button. Ghost has been a member now for 9 months, one of the early adopters, and my huge gratitude to him and to all of my channel members in particular. But if you can't do that and join Team Webbo, completely understand, but hitting the like button is free today. So and you know, saving on a playlist also really helps the engagement. And one of the worst aspects of my channel is the engagement. So people are watching, people are interacting on the live chat, but very few actually bother to leave a like or a comment after the race or something like that, or share it. But hey, that's not why we're doing it. We're doing it because we love watching race cars, and this Janetta looks beautiful in the sunshine. It doesn't often remain sunny in Snetterton, out in the east of England. It's billiard table flat, the Norfolk County, famous for its farmland and the so-called fens. So yeah, it is. I can also tell you that having attended the racetrack for some commentary duty, I can tell you there's a couple of things that are worth noting. Number one, the dip on the outside of the circuit at the bomb hole, or yeah, it's now Murray's. Sorry, yes, through Murray's is absolutely accurately rendered here in ACC, and it fills with water. Number two, it's incredibly difficult to find decent accommodation out in Norfolk, and everybody that travels to the track who's had more experience than me will take their own accommodation on wheels, or like to head on into the into a tent or something. But anyway, that's fun. Anyway, hi to Nate. Nate's watching just as he watches the GT4s qualify, I think. And Kyle Gillard drops likes as soon as he enters. So Kyle Gillard, does anybody do better than that? The Janetta is not floating on the racetrack. I must say, from that angle, it's not doing that. As Ghost says, not a fan of this track at all in any form. It's an acquired taste, most definitely. It is full of challenge, but not a lot of high speed. So someone's just been off in the dirt and the dust out there. Almost as bad as Bathurst, says Kyle Gillard. I mean, it's basically the polar opposite to Bathurst, given its complete flat nature. But I know what you're saying. It's just funny to hear a Blue Mountain track compared to something like Snetterton. I don't know. It entertained me for a second anyway. Hello to everybody. Really good to have you with us. Looks like it's a number of sporting events. And is it Father's Day tomorrow? I don't think it is. Not a celebration that I tend to participate in for various reasons. Yeah. The only commonality is that Kyle Gillard hates both tracks. We're 4 minutes 30 out from the end of qualifying. Green flag is flying, of course, for GTX Dave, and he is in P9, so the leader of the GT4 field. You can see that just below his race number and abbreviation on the very top left of the screen. 1 of 8 means he is P1 in class. 9 of 18 means he's 9th overall of the 18 drivers, one of which probably includes me, unfortunately, because of the way we have to do our broadcast. So hope everybody is looking forward to a good day at the Snetterton track. My leaderboards are somewhat redundant because you can actually see the whole field on one of them, but I'll leave them up. I'll leave them up, why not? Just make a tiny adjustment to one of these screens because it doesn't look quite as I would like it, but we are doing a-okay anyway. What a mess that one is. Come on, let's... So, I'm going to make sure that our drivers are not feeling aggrieved. I'm afraid I seem to only be able to give you the 3 drivers I've got at the bottom of the screen. I couldn't see anybody else was broadcasting, sadly. This one, I believe, bottom right, should be Nate, but I've mislaid his name badge. Where is his name badge gone? Should be in front. No, we have got somebody else up on screen. It's actually really difficult to tell. I think, who have I got up here? I might have been preparing for Ghost Stream, which is not happening today. I don't think we've got that one Sim Racer with us. But that was Elite Rain. It's Brandon's in the middle, Aries on the left. And then we should have Nate on the right. There he is, sitting in the pit lane. But I don't see his name. Am I missing it somewhere? Should be on its dash somewhere. But it's too small for me to see. Okay, let's get you some cars moving quickly. That's a beautiful livery there. Here is the low heat. Currently second. He'll be overjoyed there if he can secure second here, I would say. Gillard saying happy for the drivers that did show up today. Absolutely great commitment for showing up today. Big thank you to them. I'm going to switch out onto this view so that you can we won't end up spoiling anybody's setup that they're going. Hi to Elite Rain. You are on the screen, Elite Rain, middle of the track, so don't mess up, otherwise everyone will be able to see it. Those that are actually watching on a big enough screen, and we do encourage everybody here to switch us up onto the big TV in the house, or even on the veranda or porch outside, because for some reason YouTube are currently on a bit of a TV kick and attribute far more watchers per screen on a TV than they do on a phone. Really weird. Anyway, Alohi, the 57, still hasn't secured that Heinz sponsorship that I've been hoping for, but in the very beautiful Aston Martin GT4. And behind of him, I can tell you, the GT4 field goes GTX Dave, Alohi, Hunter, Slambonin, North Sea, Max Trax, Robphil, Topherhead, and Snarly, who has not gotten out of the pit lane. Snarly may just be watching right now, so we will we'll wait to see if we get an update from him. Just finishing out qualifying, as you can tell, 17 seconds away only from the end of that qualifying session. Lifting a wheel up through. This is heading towards the bomb hole, BOMB. Before I get sniggering in the live chat, that's the bomb hole, as in where a bomb landed. Around Coram, a huge, long, looping right-hander before tucking the car very neatly through a very short 90-degree left of Murray's and onto the main straight, which is sometimes called the start-finish straight and sometimes called the Senna straight. Into the pit lane, though, we go with Alohi, just GTX Dave staying out. So it's Alpha and Angel, nearly 0.5 of a second between the two of them. Marnik some way back from Alpha there on his 0.975 in P3 with Aries on fourth position. Elite Rain is 5th, Nate is 6th, Humanoid Forest is 7th, Chappie is 8th and last. GTX Dave leads the GT4 field ahead of Alohi, Hunter, Slambonin, North Sea, Robphil, Max Trax, and Topher. Looks like Snarly is watching, so we're down to 16, but a nice, neat division of 8 drivers apiece. Let's have a look, while the drivers are loading up, let's have a look at the current standings in the championship. This has now been beautifully organised for me. So I can tell you that Marnik leads Alpha with a drop score difference of 14 total points. And Marnik has the lead of our championship with just 2 scheduled rounds to go, albeit the final round is a bumper 90-minute race round. So that is going to be, I think, more points. I think maybe 50% more points for the final race. Alpha in 2nd, Angel in 3rd position. Big gap then back from those 3 Titans to Aries and Hellgrind, with Rubinho and Nate in 6th and 7th positions. Chappie ahead of Get Wrecked, Elite Rain. I think, I'm sorry, I can't see that tiny text. It's really hard. And then we have that one Simracer who has no scored every round so far, unfortunately. In the GT4 Championship, White Rice is ahead of GTX Dave by a single point. So we will be keeping a very close eye on the progress of Dave. I don't see Rice in the field, unfortunately, today. So White Rice will not be defending that position. Great opportunity for GTX Dave to take a big lead in the title run coming up to the end. We have, I'm sorry, yes, is it Ghost? Does it say Ghost? Ghost is at the back here with a -3 points from Monza. Ghost, how did you do that? You went backwards for a few laps? We have GTX Dave ahead of Alohi, Milkman, Kai with Hunter, North Sea, David, Aussie, Max Trax, Robphil, and Ghost. North Star lead the championship in their combined points ahead of Chewy Motorsports, Kessel Run Racing way back on just 92 points, but far enough ahead of the late breakers to make this one work. It was a penalty for Ghost. My apologies, Ghost. We're not going to talk about that. We're not going to bring that up. Don't worry. No one is mentioning it. It's all good. If I just press the drive button, please put me in the pits. If I just press the drive button too late or too early. Come on. Yeah, I think it's... Nope. I've got a horrible feeling it's put me actually on the grid. I'll try and figure this one out. Why can't I just return to garage? This game, man. I think I just... Do I just leave the track? Is that the deal? No. No, I don't do that. Well, let's hope we get back in time. Tell the I'm sorry. ACC is really, really difficult to commentate over. It is a very, very clunky UI. Hopefully, I'll be able to get myself back in here in time. Waiting for the server list to fetch. Come on now. We're getting there. I can't show you what I'm seeing because it's not happening. Come on. There we go. Don't want to give the password away. Okay, we are on our way back, so I think we should be in time. Oh, I really hope so. Anyway, my apologies, folks. It's yeah, like I say, really tough to do the commentary on this. So let me just go to there, change to that. That should be fine. That will load up in a few moments' time. And I have seen somebody commentating over this using that main menu, that main pause section there with the drive at the top and sort of blowing it up. I'm wondering about trying it for the next round of the championship. See how that looks, because you can get the whole leaderboard on the screen at once. So we are well away at the moment. We've got plenty of time. We're heading down the Bentley Straight before heading under the overpass there, the sort of drive into the track. To the left we go into Brundle. I don't know how happy Brundle is with that corner as named after him, and into Nelson in turn 9. Then to the bomb hole where the track falls away, really bottoms out in this section, and then down to Coram. Do hope everybody is doing well with us today. Nice to have you all back in the audience. For some reason our leaderboard just simply will not work, so hopefully that will all start suddenly appear as the race attribution back to our servers kicks in. Running then down the penultimate corner we go, all lined up and ready. We have Alpha in ahead of Angel, and his main title rival is Marnik in the Lexus with the Swiss flag on top. The late breakers are crowding the top group here as we get ready for that green flag. Let's keep our eye on the back of the grid as well, because as I mentioned, GTX Dave needs to try and survive this first lap, and then hopefully for him at least be able to continue to push for the championship. We get ready to go then for the penultimate time here in Snetterton. It's drop the clutch and go, go, go. Good start from the front row, slightly better for Angel, but the inside line belongs to Alpha in the BMW, who holds firm. It's 2 consecutive right-handers round this Snetterton circuit, and I could see GTX Dave was away pretty well there, well into the nibbling around at the Chewy Motorsports McLaren on the at the back of the grid, but still side by side they go. Angel and Alpha tracking very well. Is Marnik in the back. Now we're going into a very slow corner here, and there's a good chance that the McLaren on the inside could get down the inside there to take the lead, and there it is. Angel in the lead of the race for a few moments anyway. We are about to turn to the left, so that helps. But it actually, look at that, Angel round the outside, managing to hang on to that absolutely beautifully. So round we go once again, and it is Alpha back ahead of Angel. Somehow or other, Marnik was not able to capitalise on that as the drivers come through the order. The GT4s are already splitting us away from the GT3s. very quickly, just sort of one half of the way around this racetrack, this very compact racing track, into Brundle, and now Nelson, and heading down, and that's a huge one. That's a big moment, sliding around there at the back. Who was that? Let's see. Aha. In the... Let me try and get the right way through here. Let's try and find who that is. It was Elite Rain, sadly. Elite Rain, who has gone for a bit of a spin into Brundle as the track falls away from him. The entire field has passed the 420 car. Let's go back to the lead, though, because Alpha leads ahead of Angel as the sunset conditions here at Snetterton light up this track absolutely beautifully, running around on the checkerboard mowing pattern on the lawn outside the circuit as well. There looks to be the trace of a Joker lap yellow line on the outside of the Montreal Turn 2. You can avoid this whole infield altogether for the short version of the Snetterton track, but we are, of course, racing on the long Grand Prix length circuit. GTX Dave is ahead of Alohi, who is only a small distance away from Snarly, who did get going for the GT3s, is right at the back. Snarly there, about to take that position, so we will have 9 GT3s at this time anyway. Hunter is in third in class there for the Chewy Motorsports AMG, with Slambonin in P12. Elite Rain navigating his way by teammate Rob Phil. Elite Rain in the GT3 Mustang in the late breakers colour scheme, of course, followed by Rob Phil and North Sea with Max Tracks. In 16th place, we've got Topher in 17th, and back to the lead then of the GT3 field. And we'll switch cameras now because it's we've had plenty of the helicopter cam for now. What a fantastic golden lit section of the racetrack that is, into heading due north, but the camera angle picking us up with the westerly facing sun as it sets on the horizon, which is a long way away in Norfolk. Number 98 then, Alpha leading the race ahead of Angel, who has looked very strong right from the get-go today. Alpha has been powering through really nicely, and he's keeping Alpha honest. So will Angel be able perhaps to find a way by, or do a strategic option that might provide him with an opportunity later on? Marnik keeping the leaders in sight. Behind him, it is furiously fought over 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th positions. It's Aries in the 992, and it's Nate in the 187 McLaren, his favourite car, of course, the McLaren. Sorry, the 189, excuse me, Nate, with Chappie in P6 for Chewy Motorsports. Just at the back of the group there is Humanoid Forest in the Ferrari 296, and we've got Snarly in the Lambo up to P8. We still have, unfortunately, Elite Rain. You're probably enjoying watching Elite Rain carving through the GT4 traffic, as Chappie is in P6. Humanoid Forest there in the 23 Castle Run Racing Ferrari. Then you've got Snarly in the 676. But on track, at least, GTX Dave, what a camera angle that is, through 3 sets of catch fencing. And here comes Elite Rain then to finally get back on terms. The 420 passing the 31 and up to P9 overall. GTX Dave staying at the head of the GT4 field without a problem. It's sunrise, says God King. Thank you. Apologies. It is sunrise today. So we didn't get much in the way of dark condition racing. I have been at Snetterton in the absolutely pouring rain, so this is quite a pleasant change up for me to see. Slambonin in 13th, Rob Phil in 14th, and North Sea in the 15th position in that compact Porsche GT4. The late breakers here, fighting over 5th and 6th positions in the GT4 field. And there is Topher, who has certainly visited Barry, I think. I haven't seen a problem for the rear of another car, so it may be he has headed towards a somewhat more stationary object. Sorry to say. Alpha and Angel continuing to shadow each other as we pass the Sunoco advertising, which frankly just doesn't happen in the UK. One of those odd details from ACC that just makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. No, I didn't take it in a bad way at all. If you're spitting facts, I will humbly be corrected without problem. Thank you, Got King. Back straight is blinding in the sun. The Bentley Straight, that is, I think, towards the north. There you've got Marnik, running a little on the slower side today. Hasn't been able to get himself hooked up properly here at Snetterton. I would expect him to probably find something mid-race. And of course, the longer he can stay watching the lines of the other drivers in front of him, the more likely that is. But maybe it's just the fact that it's a very compact race circuit with little in the way of strengths for the Lexus, the long straights that the Lexus really needs, and the fast-flowing long medium to high-speed corners. Whereas this is a lot of medium to low-speed turns and short amount of on throttle power. So we'll go back to Aries, who's bottom left of your screen, race long today in P4, and Chappie in 5th. Should be good for Chappie. Let's ride on board with Chappie, shall we? Hopefully that hasn't just deafened you if you're on headphones. I have tried to put a noise suppressor on on the audio feed here, so we don't lose too much in the way of fidelity and smoothness. It's very loud in my ear. I can't put any kind of limit on my side, but I try and do it for you guys as we head out of the Montreal corner in towards Palmer. Jonathan Palmer, father of Jolyon Palmer. It's named after Jonathan, who was an F1 driver before Jolyon was. We went on the way into Agostini. Wow. Okay, Chappie catching that early inside curb, and it all went very quiet for a moment there on board with Chappie, unfortunately going wide out of Agostini and down towards Hamilton. Unfortunately, that's good. Thanks, Scott King. We did test it, I think it was Nate and Ghost were helping me test the audio before, and I kind of lock everything down for this one. Appreciate the grammar correction as well. This is Humanoid Forest. Don't know much about Humanoid at all. It's an interesting name. It's kind of like one of those random word generator, isn't it? Humanoid Forest, with Aries in P4, the God of War, of course, Aries, with Marnik in 3rd position. Marnik is not French, by the way, if anyone was wondering. Angel chasing down Alpha. Let's join Angel, shall we, as we see how this McLaren is going. He's extracting a great deal of speed out of this McLaren. The BMW, a very neutral car. The McLaren, much better at direction change and weight transfer, and the shorter tracks, the more twisty technical tracks. Nice. Okay, Got King saying that Humanoid is racing up from Prospect and is very good. Good prospect here. So that sounds excellent. Down into Agostini, you can get really close to the racetrack here if you've got paddock access. It's very cool down that side into Agostini, and then we go into Hamilton, and then into Oggies, turn 6. Sort of a two-parter, Oggies. Get an early apex and then just allow the car to go out to the wide point. Williams turn leads on to the Bentley straight. That's very loose from Angel. Very, very loose indeed. Well, he did well to hang on to that one. And looks like Alpha just keeping Angel in his mirrors there. Just wandering across to the racetrack onto the left-hand turn of Brundle and Nelson. We've already seen one bollard go begging through there. So still Angel just less than a second behind, whereas Marnik has dropped 5 seconds to the leader since the start of the race in just 5 laps. Now, given that in qualifying he was half a second down, that's a very rapid drop-off for someone of Marnik's high ability. However, Snetterton can be a bit of a joker when it comes to a championship situation. But absolutely underlining how good Humanoid Forest appears to be, because here he is in P5 in the Premier Division in the Ferrari 296. Only the likes of Aries, Marnik, Angel and Alpha ahead of him. We'll ignore that car even though it looks really nice. We've got Chappie in P6 in the Chewy Motorsports Ferrari 296 behind of him. Strange to see Nate unable to stay or challenge with Chappie. Now, Nate has been battling a lot this season with Aries, so that would be my normal expectation. However, our drivers may be trying to run the tortoise strategy here. This is North Sea. Now, I thought for a second North Sea had gotten into the lead, but he's actually dropped a lap, almost a lap down. And there he is in 17th of the, well, 17th and last position, essentially, because the 18th is my car. Elite Rain is in P8 in the 420, and then we go to see Snarly in the Lamborghini. So Elite Rain has got by Snarly as well. As always, GTX Dave, the class of the field in GT 3.5. Unfortunately, he has to be allocated in GT4. And he is, yes, looking like he's going to take maximum points out of today and out of White Rice's championship lead. The gap was only just sitting there as 1 point prior to this race, with the drop scores taken into account. What is the fastest lap? I'm just going to finish going through here. We've got Alohi, Hunter, Slabbonin for second, third and fourth. Really nice close battle in GT4s for the podium. Rob Phil in 14th, Max Trax in 15th, with Topher in 16th then. So the fastest lap right now, 147.112, driven by Alpha so far, who's just opened up a little gap behind there to Angel. That is built a little bit since the last time they went into Brundle in P8. So Angel losing a bit of pace there as they head in towards Agostini. Great viewing position as well, in that there's not many grandstands or bleachers here at Snetterton, but there are quite a few areas where you can get a great view of the racetrack. Not, I would say, sadly, including the commentary box. Running very wide then. We go for Angel out onto the dirt. Let's go back to that battle for second, third and fourth in our GT4 field. Love to see our drivers really going for it here. Chewy Motorsport second and third, with of course North Star in fourth position right now. That's Alohi, Hunter and Slabbonin. Almost into the 46s. It's crazy fast, says God King. Yeah, all the neutrals cheering for Hunter as well, who had a much beleaguered run at the start of this championship. It has calmed down a little bit, but the first half of this championship, it was struggling to stay on the racetrack for being punted off and bullied, especially by certain GT3 drivers. But here he is now, third position, in the class. Hunter ahead of Slabbonin. Sorry, Hunter behind of Alohi here, and then Slabbonin in P13 overall, or fourth. There for North Star. Into Agostini we go. You'd think they'd put a gravel trap on the exit of that one, wouldn't you? But I guess the straightaway just before it is a little on the short side. Into Hamilton. A corner far unworthy of his name and great racing credentials. Kind of a lift off into the next turn, into Oggies, but there it is. Be smart to just protect the teammate in first for GT4. Well, the teammate who is in first is actually GTX Dave, so that is the Kesselman Racing. That was Hunter going wide. Here comes Slabbonin down in towards Brundle, and looks like Slabbonin is going to get ahead here down the Bentley straight, and that underlines the importance of navigating the Williams turn 7 with great skill. Slabbonin flying by Hunter then, and in towards the bomb hole and Coram as that approaches next. There we have it. So yes, just you can see the shadows moving 180 degrees around the cars, because that's what the turn does. This is the Murray's corner with the massive muddy puddle on the outside when it's raining, and then the drivers will run as close to that pit wall as possible just to straighten out this centre straight. Even though it is called a straight, it is for the most part. A bit of a curve. And there is Hunter. Looks like the gap's opening a little bit. We'll just check in on everybody else. Rob Phil in P14 then. And then you've got Alpha, who has lapped Max Trax in the GT4s. Number 98, Alpha leading the race now by 2.4 seconds because he's got by that Kessel Run Racing Mercedes AMG of Max Trax, and Angel has not been able to get by. Traffic is going to be a problem pretty much on all of the non-international UK circuits here. So Silverstone is usually all right, but pretty much everywhere else it's quite narrow, it's bumpy, and it's hard to get by mixed class racing. I did just hear, by the way, if anyone's planning a trip in 2027 to the UK, or you already live in the UK, I did hear that the World Endurance Championship will be coming back to Silverstone next year in 2027. Just saying, if you fancy it. Because I quite like the idea of going to see them. There we have it. So Angel, P2. Now 2.8 seconds away from Alpha, no, from Hunter, in fact, as Alpha has cleared two or three of these drivers up front. Here he is. Well, of course, he's got good service from his teammates there in Chewy Motorsports. They have parted the water for him. Round we go. Then it's quite a hike for you guys to get to Silverstone next year. But if you're going to plan it, then start planning it now. It'd be pretty awesome to see. It's the 6 or 7 hours of Silverstone. That was not me deliberately trying to bring up 6-7, by the way. I think it's the 6 hours of Silverstone it will be. So we'll be able to watch the race in a fairly comfortable amount of time as well. Angel in second. And then you've got Marnik down in third position at the moment, ahead of some of the rest of the GT4s, and a decent gap then back to our reserving driver, humanoid robot, humanoid something, Forest, that's the one, humanoid Forest in P4 in class there, just in the background, but he's dropped 17 seconds to Marnik now as they approach this traffic. I wonder if he's had a little bit of trouble. Let's just watch Marnik trying and make his way through here. Down to Agostini, turn 4, tight hairpin Agostini, a little bit of banking, such as they can construct in Norfolk, and round the outside onto towards turn 5, Hamilton. Down to third gear for Hamilton when you've got traffic directly in front of you anyway. Around the outside we go of Oggies, turn 6. The two-part right-hander, and then you've got to build and absolutely nail the exit of Williams, as we saw how easy it is to lose momentum down the Bentley straight here and in towards Brundle. It is we've got Alohi in second in the GT4 class, Slam Bonin for North Star in third position, and Hunter just knocked off the podium there on the previous lap. Unfortunately, we have the pit window is about to open for the mandatory pit stop. For those who are new to watching, drivers have to visit the pit lane, stop and take on at least 1 litre of fuel, and they are not required to take tyres. So we may see a split of tyre strategy coming up. Any of our live drivers watching, live teammates who are watching the live show today might be able to give some inside information or pit lane stationary times. There is the pit lane window open. Not many people will pit the earliest opportunity unless they have picked up damage through the course of the first third of the race. There's the 23 of Humanoid Forest. He has come in, so I wonder, you know, whether he has had an off-track problem or he scrubbed some tyres, had a little spin, because he dropped a lot of time since the 2 times that we checked in with him. The car looks immaculate, so I really can't explain it from that point of view. Here is Elite Rain, who was right at the back of the entire grid after they started lap 1. He's back to 5th position overall in the Mustang. Again, just like the Lexus, this is not a track that will lend itself toward the Mustang and its strengths and its weaknesses, tends to expose them. But how is it sounding? That's the most important thing, is it not, in a race car? I love the little touch of the blue oval on the dash from Ford, I have to say. It doesn't sound like a bad race car at all, does it? Very, very handy. But unfortunately for Elite Rain, he is some distance away now, 8 seconds away from our P4 in the GT3s. Topher is just behind this this driver on track anyway, and then Humanoid Forest has now taken his pit stop. Nate has also taken his pit stop as very early for Nate, but we did see his front splitter was a little bit scratched up there. Ghost Strike saying the M6 sounds better. What? I was going to say, what are you smoking, Ghost Stroke, but I know all too well what you're likely smoking. But M6, no, the BMWs, no, they don't sound good at all. Not in my view anyway. But I don't think we've got any M6, but I don't know if we'll even be able to pick up the volume of this BMW. It's so quiet. But you're absolutely right, God King. The Porsche is the superior. It is probably the best sounding game in all of sim racing, I think, the Porsche in ACC. Oh, Alpha! Well, we were on board for a massive tank slap moment there from Alpha. Wow, that was very, very close. VTech says, Kyle, the M4 is poo, says Ghost Stroke. You think M6 is better? Okay. The 720 McLaren is okay. It sounds good as well. But that was a big moment for Alpha there. I was very surprised, but maybe it's just the nature of this track. We're talking sound. I mean, that is quite raspy, isn't it, the 720 there? You've got to protect your eardrums if you're solo driving an endurance race, Ghost. I think that's the problem, right? Beautiful apex from Angel through the bomb hole. This is the kind of corner I detest through Coram. At least it's not a increasing speed, high speed corner, because I'm absolutely hopeless at them. Anyway, out of Murray's, firing out and into, well, certainly staying P2, 8 seconds away. As that looks like Topher just coming out of the pit lane alongside of him. So, bit of a relief there that he didn't get stuck behind a Chevy GT4 heading through turn 1, which is known as Riches. Monarch with the flame off throttle side exhausts still showing up even though we're still in daylight. Although the yes, the daylight is getting brighter as a result of it being sunrise. Looks like we're going to be clear of rain for a good while. Anyway, 15 minutes further forward is all we get in terms of the forecast, but so far so good. It is quite a cloudy day though, and I'm not sure how much variability we've got in the weather. If it's accurate to UK June right now, it's been, yeah, not a warm month at all. We had one really hot spell in May, but in June it's just been fine and a little bit rainy. Ghost Strike saying the McLaren GT4 is the worst car ever. Are we talking about the sound again, or just in general we hate the McLaren? I want to listen to the Aston here. I was just watching the Mustang come by the AMG in the background there. Let's listen to the Mustang. What am I like? The Aston. Not bad. Not bad. Going back then to now onto the AMG. It's a nice sounding AMG, the GT4 I find. But that has easily let Elite Rain through, who's racing the Ford. This is on board. Same car. The Ferrari. I refuse to believe the Ferrari sounds this rubbish on board, I have to say. This is Slambonin there in the GT4. So here we go, listening to the McLaren. Is it the 620 in the GT4? I don't hear a lot wrong with that. It's a little low revving maybe as we come through. Yeah, the AMG GT4 is so much the best car in ACC for the GT4 field, Kyle, that it's been nuked in the balance of performance, has it not? I think I'm allowed to talk about Bob. on the on commentary here. I know we've had a few protesting drivers as a result of the changes. Nate's front splitter is still a bit scratched up. The mechanics didn't really deal with that at all. Nothing major on the car, but in P6, Chappie has made his mandatory pit stop. The Aston is just coming on his way out there. Here is Nate. He has, I think, unfortunately been into the barrier. That is not a happy looking McLaren. Kyle says still drives like a dream. I'll have to give it a go. I'll have to give it a go next time I'm on ACC. Here's Nate. 155.3 from Nate that time round. He has been going 6 seconds faster than that pace. Maybe electing here to try and keep the tyres alive for the whole race distance. There is Alpha on track behind Nate, 6 seconds behind Nate. Alpha has not taken his pit stop, Nate has. So that will take Nate away from being lapped. But it wouldn't surprise me with this pace differential right now. In fact, the last lap that Alpha just put in was the fastest lap overall, a 146.845. We are well into the 146s then. Now with Alpha in the BMW. And he's quicker still on this lap for a few seconds out of Agostini into Hamilton. I wonder if this is essentially him just taking everything left out of the tyres and calculating his fuel loads, adjusting his pit stop display, make sure his team know exactly what's happening. And out of Williams we go. On board, well, watching at least trackside with the BMW M4. I was quite happy driving the M4, I have to say. I found it incredibly forgiving. For an ACC car, this M4 is actually drives a bit more like a GT7, GT3, I've got to say, if we're not confusing our terminologies too much. But I would imagine here Alpha is on his way in towards the pit lane. Let's see the pace dialing up as it has done. He's staying out, in fact. Angel has not pitted. Marnik has not pitted either. I think it's really important for our race to try and track when the drivers take those pit stops, or at least how long they are stationary for. Thanks, Carl. I mean, if I'm feeling like it's a forgiving car, then it's definitely a forgiving car. Here's Rob Phil in one of the many, many AMG GT4s. It's the most road car looking, I would say, GT race car, the AMG. It's sort of the most muted kind of, I don't know. Whereas obviously something like the Lamborghini looks like an absolute beast and a hypercar. I guess it's the most kind of everyday looking car, I would say, the GT4 AMG. You do not need to turn some laps against me unless you need a good laugh. I am not someone to take anything other than a great deal of a boost to your own ego when you drive alongside me. Here is Topher in P70. Do you know, I haven't actually touched my rig for some 25 days. I didn't lose a bet or anything, just life anyway. Elite Rain in P4. That's a really impressive run so far. He hasn't taken his pit stop. He's 12.1 seconds away, and he's reached the halfway point after being at the absolute back of the grid. He does need to take that pit stop. I don't think so, man. I think you'd be hard pressed, I think, to find a less consistent and worse driver than me in the Black Flag racing community. That's why I'm on this end of the microphone and broadcasting. Here's the 31. It's GTX Dave, and he leads Hunter now on the track anyway by 18 seconds. GTX Dave leading the GT4 field as it ever was without White Rice around. Certainly Humanoid Forest in the Kessel Run Racing colours in his Ferrari 296 has pitted. He's in 5th place. His gap to Elite Rain is 23 seconds. That's got to be within a pit stop window for sure. Hunter is now 2nd because of other pit stops. Slambonin has pitted, and Hunter's teammate, was it Chappie? No. I think Chappie is his teammate. Have I got that right? Yes. Chappie is his teammate, but not in this division. So Alpha still leads, and it's Alohi who has dropped behind Slambonin there by 6 seconds. That has got to be a driver taking tyres and one is not. So it's got to be that either Alohi has taken either fuel or tyres for the run through to the flag here in comparison to Slambonin. And we wait to see then what the rest of our drivers go for. That is a very, very expensive lawnmower, the 57 Aston Martin GT4. And that is not going to add performance to the car at all. Marnik is now in second because he's not taken the pit stop, but I fully expect with Angel 30 seconds away from him that will be certainly, they'll be together at least, if not Angel retaking Marnik after the pit stop. Down into 27.5 minutes remaining of the endurance race. Whoa, big slide from Marnik. Love to see it as Marnik crosses the dirty air of Alohi's GT4 in front of him. And that one really got loose for him in the Lexus. He hung on to it beautifully, Marnik. And into the broad daylight now at the Norfolk circuit. And Marnik staying in second place, put in a 48.7 that lap. Some 0.8 of a second away from his ultimate best of 47.952. Alpha still has the ultimate fastest lap of the race for the GT4s of 46.845. He's now circulating in the early 48s as well, as he's got cars to lap and running low on tyres. In fact, I think he's trying to indicate to GTX Dave, who is 0.6 of a second in front of him, that he really ought to move aside. However, don't forget, the drivers in the GT4s and any being lapped drivers, slower of the drivers, have been told simply to stay on their racing line and not to do anything unpredictable. The onus is on the following driver, the passing driver, to make the pass safely. Here is Alpha then, still to make that mandatory pit stop, leaving it quite late in the day as we head through the bomb hole of turn 10 and into then the long punishing Quorum corner. I'd be surprised if drivers can do this over the course of an hour, not taking tyres. We may, if drivers have tried that, see them falling off the racetrack at the end of the race in the final 10 minutes. I think just a little flash of the lights there, just for awareness on Max Tracks. Just seeing Nate get by the GT4 leader. Nate, remember, has pitted. Was close to being lapped. But the drivers in front of him in the GT3 field, someone has just cleared out a big amount of the trackside furniture there on the way into Montreal. I can't tell if it's Max Tracks or Alpha. So sit on the rear wing here of Alpha, so we see what he is seeing. Not quite. This is what he's seeing. Hopefully, at least. I hope we haven't got any drivers running rubbish camera angles. Depends on your screen size, though, doesn't it? Because you might make the decision that actually sitting. This is my camera. This is what I like. But you might take the view that not seeing your hands, getting a little bit closer to the racing, or this view. I know one of our drivers that we take the POVs from does this. So here we go into Brundle. There's the rising sun still over on the horizon. Certainly not above the driver's eye line or sun strip. Anyway, I know I've got to get back onto Tuesdays. I know. I'll do my best. Oh, disconnect. My apologies, folks. We're back in as quickly as possible. That's a weird one. Okay. Let's get back into the race server as quick as we can. I don't want to show the password, so I will make sure that we just switch scene for that. I need to run GT4's Wednesday night. I'll hook them up with a Merc Well, that's nice, but as much as I love you all, it's not compatible with my sleep schedule and family, I'm afraid. Into the early hours there. That one is going to be beyond me, unfortunately. Serverless just fetching. We're on our way. I'd love to, guys, but you know, there's just not enough European compatible timings at Black Flag. Just don't care about us Euros very much, I guess. Here we go. We are headed back into the race, thankfully. Let's get ourselves back in there. There we go. So, get those organised, and we will go to drive and on. There we go. Okay, good. We're back in. Glad that that didn't happen too late, and let's keep our fingers crossed that it doesn't happen again. Humanoid Forest is in 4th position. Chappie in Elite Rain in 4th. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be a very fun person to be around. I live with other people here, Ghost, so that particular combination is probably not the way to go. Humanoid Forest in 4th, Chappie in 5th, and Elite Rain in P6. My controls are locked, it says. That's fine, you go ahead and lock my controls. Elite Rain in 6th position, and he is just on track. 2.9 seconds away from Alpha, who has still yet to make his pit stop. I do want to see Alpha's pit stop. Here it is, in fact, right on cue. Nate, we know, has taken his pit stop. Let's see the pit stop then for Alpha. We'll know what he's doing with his strategy, or at least those of you who are better at making those guesses than I am. Let's have a look. How long are we stationary for? What is going into the car here? Yeah, Kyle's saying when they do races at 9, I'm like, that's late and roll over. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. On the way out then of the pit lane, that looked like fuel only, is my guess, for Alpha. But he does have a nice cushion out there. Alpha's cushion is 8 seconds. No, it's not. It's even more than that. Angel has, in fact, ended up behind of Marnik. So Marnik may have gone for the 1 litre option on the fuel. You do know that the Lexus drives better with fuel on board. I did race a sort of a season at Prospect last year, and the Lexus is really tough to manage low fuel. The rear end is just way too light. Don't worry, Angel, we didn't need that bollard at this point in the race as we head down to Agostini. Fuel only, says Kyle. That was for Alpha's pit stop there. So North Star pairing here. They don't look like teammates, do they, these two? But I promise you they are. As they come through then in towards the right-hander of Palmer. Alongside Hunter. Doesn't want to close off the McLaren on the inside there. I'm sure we wouldn't mind because it's a different team, but it can end up taking yourself out doing that. Down the Bentley straight we go. Looking for the braking zones. Hard to read. They're quite small here at Snetterton as well. Don't know how much fun it would be to go straight on there where the service road is, and I think they do rallycross at the different points here at Snetterton. Pit window now closed. We're into the final third of our race, and this is interesting because this is the drivers passing Slant Bonin around the outside of Coram. Not a comfortable place at all. Much more comfortable in the helicopter to ride here. Kyle says, my condolences for having to race a Lexus. Yeah, it wasn't the best choice, was it? But I had this stupid idea last season that, less about me, stop talking about me. Here goes Angel for a wide trip into the countryside. Found a bit of catch fencing, thankfully. It was almost invisible, that catch fencing. Now he's looking in his mirrors and he's clearing out every single braking marker board. Is he taking a joker lap? Not quite. But Angel stays in 3rd position, but completely loses touch there of the podium of the P2 of Marnik. I think there's a difference in their strategy, and well, Angel, unfortunately, we've seen a couple times so far today. Angel Not able to quite tame the Snetterton beast. Into Agostini we go. So his gap to Marnik is now 9.4 seconds, and there goes Snarly off. That's just traction oversteer coming out of Agostini. Low grip, might have been slightly offline, certainly might have been distracted by what was happening in front of him, and his rear steps out on him. Into Palmer we go. Could be generous, couldn't we, and call one of those Jonathan and one of them Jolyon. If you don't know who Jolyon Palmer is, by the way, he's on F1 TV channel, and you often hear his punditry with Alex Jakes as the main commentator on F1 TV, or as we have it here in the UK in Channel 4 as well. My preferred pairing, my preferred broadcast pairing, certainly of F1 at the moment, as Slam Bonin, is in P11. Jolyon Palmer raced for just 1 or 2 seasons as an F1 driver in a low-order, slow team. Renault, as they were, weren't exactly great at the time. Here is Aries, who has really had a very quiet race of things. 150.4. Whoa, Marnik! Marnik's been off. Marnik's been off through Coram, or at least, was that just the pit stop? I think that might have been a pit stop. Wow. Very strange to see from Marnik there. So anyway, he has dropped back behind Angel again. And these two race to see who could end up being P3 here. You're not a fan of Jolyon Palmer. He's gotten so much better, and he does have some smart things to say. On the way out then, we have Marnik on the 67, behind the number 7 of Angel. Any kids watching, absolutely loving this, I think. So Marnik and Angel both having their moments out there, unfortunately, and both losing time to the overall leader. I'm trying to find the overall leader. Where on earth has he gone? Alpha, there he is, in the green BMW. He is on his 23rd racing lap. Villeneuve and Collins, as in Ben Collins, the original Stig, are you saying? There's no one to call the action in that group, Kyle, I think. I don't hate Villeneuve as much as most people hate Villeneuve, but I used to love Ben Edwards, actually. Ben Edwards I used to think was incredible. I loved Alex Jakes for a hot minute there, but it's become a bit of a parody of himself. And don't drink every time he alliterates boy from Bologna or man from Monaco, will you? Sorry, I'm going to ruin everybody's experience now. GTX Dave is being lapped for the second time, I think, today. The leader of the GT4 field, or at least the GT3.5 field. Blue flags fly for him. And then we see Marnik and Alpha continuing to fight. There's absolutely nothing to fight over the P1 in GT4. I need to be trying to catch up with what's going on at Le Mans. If any of our live viewers can give me that info. How are Team AO Racing and number 83 going so far? Anyway, those are my picks. Oh, Bernie Collins. Yes, of course. Bernie's amazing. I completely agree. She called a couple of absolute blinding calls on Monaco Grand Prix. So yeah, she was worth the price of admission for Sky that weekend for sure. No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. You just need an action caller, I think, between those two. And what is going on? This is really weird. It's really random if you don't watch Sky or their feed around the world. But why has nobody sorted the audio on Bernie Collins' microphone?
Everything she says sounds a bit like that.
And I don't understand why the audio engineers haven't fixed that. Sorry. Anyway, Max Track is 13th and Alohi is in 14th at the moment. Max Track's 4th in the field. Alohi 5th in the GT4s. Obviously had a moment out there in a longer pit stop than most. There's Elite Rain. 5th in GT3. True. Okay, so you're keeping Crofty, are you? Sorry, got Here comes Elite Rain down the inside on the Aston Martin of Alohi, the number 57, Heinz Special, and into Brundle. Chappie is in 6th position in the GT3. That front end looks a little on the mangled side, doesn't it? Almost hard to recognise which of our GT3 models that one is from the front. If it wasn't for those fins over the wheel arches. Was it worth a tip as well? Got King, I wonder. The 405 from Chappie in the Ferrari. Catches that inside curb through Murray's. And you don't often get racetrack corners. What is happening with North Sea? Wow. You don't often get racetrack corners named after broadcasters. But of course, Murray Walker was the ultimate GOAT. No one will ever change my mind that Murray Walker was the man. North Sea looks like he's got some mechanical failure on the car here, because that was a pinball-like entry into the pit lane. I wonder if he's had enough and he's quitting out. Let's see what happens. I probably shouldn't stay with him here, but it might just be repairs, and he keeps going. There's good points on offer for the drivers, but let's check in what's happening with North Sea a little bit later. Can still see him there. He may elect to retire. Certainly, that was a difficult one to recognise the model. Angel in P2 gets by. North Sea is still in that pit lane. There's certainly a lot of repairs to make. Aries, I thought he might have caught the podium runners, but Aries has gone a lap down in the Porsche 992. Still going to pick up good points. He's in 8th place right now. Aries, whoa! Amazing head-up driving there from Marnik as Aries. I'm not sure. Maybe he was adjusting something in the cockpit. But how did Marnik see that coming? Marnik is clairvoyant. That was insane as he just saw Aries come hurling towards him with absolutely no reason whatsoever. Yeah, amazing skill from Marnik just to avoid that one. We've got Snarly in P9 and GTX Dave then. For Kessel Run Racing, the pair of them, but in different classes and very different commission positions in their respective racing. A rough season, says Ghost Stroke. For F1, are you saying? Definitely. I'm afraid I've just stopped paying for it. I'm not pirating it. I'm just watching it on delayed free highlights because I'm really happy for Kimi, but it's not great, is it? And I was so heartbroken with what they did to Monaco, to new to the cars. That is Slambonin. Second. Back to second here with Hunter right with him. Challenging for the GT4 podium. P2, P3. Hunter can't find a way by around the outside. That's a tricky one. Through Williams we go. Give Marnik his due. He's very aware of what's going on around him. Nice. Nice. We like a little bit of respect and recognition for what our drivers' skill levels are. Here is Hunter trying his damnedest to get by Slambonin, who is really struggling to find that racing room, trying to pressurise Slambonin into a mistake. But so far, Slambonin's brakes have held on. He's been okay here. So we're trying to get that really late apex through Coram and into Murray's. I pretty much know everybody else that every other reason why the corners are named the way they are here at Snetterton, except for Coram. It's very odd name. Into Ritchie's we go. Turn 1. Hunter seemingly liking a late apex here. First of the two big hairpins. That was the opportunity for Hunter. That into Montreal. And then we go through Palmer. Turn 3. So we're just calling out Kyle saying that the McLaren's really poor. It is much better on acceleration out of the slow turns. looks like it is a matter of time here for Hunter. He's definitely got the car underneath him a lot more. My wondering here is that Slambolin didn't take tyres, kept himself ahead of Hunter, and Hunter has got that extra grip. It looks like this is more than just the difference between the cars here. This looks to me like Hunter has taken the tyre option. God King saying he's put his entire life savings on Hunter and getting P2 today. Hunter has just dropped a second there to Slambonin. Just needs to cool the tyres and rebuild his race. We'll just check in everybody. We've got Elite Rain in 5th, Chappie in 6th. 4 seconds between them. Nate. I'm scratching my head here today about Nate's pace. Very surprised to see him in the second half, basically, at the GT3 field. Alpha in P1. Naturally, Max Trax ahead of Alohi. Max Trax has not taken his mandatory pit stop. So there's be a, is it a disqualifying offence? Or is it an additional 30 second, or is it a 120 second or something penalty for not taking that pit stop? How far is P2? Yeah, too far away from the screen to find him. It's been Marnik. No, it's not Marnik. It's Angel. Sorry, 34 seconds is the lead for Alpha over Angel. Angel has a 2-second gap to the Lexus, 2 cars back from him on track at the moment. Angel in P2. Marnik in P3 here in that Lexus. Hey to VR Hot Laps as well. Always like to see drivers from other leagues join in just to see what's going on the channel. VR Hot Laps, a content creator as well. I'm not sure he appreciated me calling him an influencer the other day, but he's got a good channel on YouTube, so check that out. Please subscribe. Here comes Aries to go by Rob Phil, and I haven't seen. No, North Sea is still operating. So North Sea, props to North Sea. Absolutely battered and bruised. Went into the pit lane and has taken his medicine. Didn't want to say too much there while he was losing the car. But he's taken his medicine, he's repaired the car, and he's fighting on. And you love to see drivers continuing. He's not going to trouble any other drivers today, but props to him. Love to see it when things are going wrong and someone stays out. That's good stuff. Yeah, I read that as well. VR Hot Laps, nice. GTX Dave in 10th, Elite Rain in P5. Then in the 420, everyone wanted that number. I think they raced for it, didn't they, in the 420? Slambone in 11th, and Hunter still in P12, or 2nd and 3rd in class there. There was a blue flag given. 5.5 minutes remain only of the race. Don't forget, next time we are with Black Flag Racing live for Premier, it is a 50% longer race. We're at Laguna Seca, of all places, for 90 racing minutes. Insane, whoever's idea that was. Yeah, that's true. But that's why I didn't say anything. That's why I stopped talking, because I get all kinds of blame. Hunter's looking good here on the back of Slambonin, but they both have to let Chappie by, which Hunter will be very cognizant of, probably in the Two Motorsports race radio right now, as Chappie's saying, Hunter, come on, I got to get by here. And Hunter's saying, okay, if you can hold up that McLaren a little bit on your way by, that would be awesome. And I think that is what is happening. Look at this from Hunter, screaming out Agostini. He's much, much closer now. Hunter, 0.2 of a second only behind of Slambonin. He needs to absolutely maximize the run here through Oggies and then Williams. It's really hooked up. This is his best chance he's had yet, I think. Needs to nail Williams here on the inside, get that curve, get the power down while we're still almost 90 degrees with the steering wheel. He's letting the rev counter go a bit high there to make sure. But yeah, the acceleration is just pap there on board the AMG GT3. Just trying to feed the car in, letting the track take you round the corner, as it were, with the slope of the racetrack through the bomb hole. You can see there on board with the driver just how much the car bottoms out through that bomb hole and then into Coram. This is where the AMG is slightly better, but it's so hard to make this work. And he's got Alpha, the race leader, coming through as well now. Has Hunter, another teammate of him. Through Murray as we go. Nate's right there in the background as well. I think Hunter had to lift there to let them by. He's lost time again to Slambonin, but time is the most important thing to Hunter right now. It's running out on him as Nate and Alpha make their way by Slambonin. Should mean Hunter is faster through turn 1 of Riches. Could he go for a dive bomb? 0.3 of a second is just on dive bomb territory. And again, understeering through the right-hand hairpin of Montreal was the McLaren of Slambonin in the North Star Racing colours. As they come through then, once again, this middle sector favouring the AMG. But just as they get out onto the Bentley straight, things, fortunes reverse, I guess. And you find the 613 McLaren able to get away here. Look at that great exit again from Hunter. He's closing in as Got King is cheering him on here. He's put all of his money down on a bet. He's playing the Polymarket bets, I think, Got King. Is that too topical? Sorry, guys, if it is. And through Oggies and into Williams. Don't do Polymarket. Don't gamble, folks. Anyway, out of there, down the North Bentley Straight. You're adults. You can do whatever the hell you want. Under P12, he goes through into Brundle and then Nelson. Car in front of these two has just been off the track. North Sea still circulating there. About 8 seconds away from being lapped by this podium. Contenders in his own class. But he has held on very nicely. I'm just looking back. You can see Chappie is off. Chappie's dropped a place to Nate. And yeah, Chappie around Adam Murray's. An unusual corner to get wrong in the dry, gotta say. And he's letting Slambonin by. It's going to be a confusing situation here for Slambonin. Only gambling on Counter-Strike. Saying the Merc isn't great under braking either. Yeah, okay. Okay, that was a very weird one. I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to Chappie because that was... his car will not be handling well. He may even be one hand down on the steering wheel. Let's have a look on board with him as we get onto the straightaway. Is he one hand down? Not quite. No, he's tracking okay out there. But I have to say, that would be very out of character. I think that was just someone driving a very damaged car out of a slow corner. Slambonin survived. Thankfully, it hasn't negatively affected this race to a great extent. Half a second separates Hunter and Slambonin. It's certainly been around there. As Carl says, his car is very roughed up. Are you saying the McLaren of Slambonin? It looks okay, but definitely the Ferrari of Chappie was in a mess. For sure. Had 2 offs, but I would imagine he hasn't taken tyres. And he has, in fact, ended up with no grip at the end of the race here. He's really touring pretty slowly right now. Check in where Alpha is, about to start his final lap of the race, with just a few seconds left on the clock. If he held back here, he could save a lap for everybody, but he's not going to. No, he is! Alpha wins at Snetterton. It's a very late finish line there. Alpha wins the 6th round of the championship. GTX Dave wins in GT4 once again. Same as it ever was, as I've been saying for some time here. Heading into Coram comes Angel. GTX Dave was 34 seconds ahead of the podium battle for him. It looks like Slambonin has managed to pip Hunter to the GT4 podium. Angel lets Marnik by. We don't like to see that, folks. But Angel, for North Star, for the team game, has let Marnik by, of course. They hardly look like teammates, but Marnik's championship is best served by Angel moving aside. That was huge. Giving up a P2 there was Angel on the line, but he knows, and so does Marnik, that he was beaten today. Max Trax crosses the line next, and we've got several drivers coming through there. 130 seconds penalty for not serving the pit stop for Max Trax. Not quite sure what he was thinking there, as Aries is doing his level best to ruin the racetrack for everybody. He hasn't actually picked up the checkered flag, according to my official results there. Has he? Where is he? Aries. No, he has picked up the checkered flag. That's all right then. That's good. I should say checkered flag on his dash. It does. Good. Okay. But yes, there you have it. Alpha Marnik, Angel, your podium. GTX Dave, Slambonin, and Hunter in the GT4 field. Fourth place went to Humanoid Forest. Absolutely fantastic drive from him. Might be driver of the day. I'll think about it. Ely Rain in fifth, Nate in sixth, Chappie in seventh, and Aries home in eighth, ahead of Snarly, the GT3 field. GTX Dave, Slambonin, and Hunter. Oh, I'm really struggling now between Humanoid Forest and Slambonin for the driver of the day here. Alohi in fourth, Robphil in fifth, Max Trax sixth, North Sea seventh, and Topher had a stop go and I think retired. I'm going to go for Slambonin driver of the day. I know Humanoid Forest has done well, but he did have pace from the outset. My driver of the day will be for Slambonin for picking up a P2 there in the championship. In the Snetterton race. One more round to go, the date of which will be on the end screen today. Thank you so much, everybody who has taken the time to watch all the way to the end, whether you're live or whether you are watching back as a driver. Thank you. You can drop a tip if you so desire, but please, at very least, hit a like and a share or a comment in some way. But from me, Webbo, it's been an absolute pleasure once again here at Black Flag Racing at Snetterton in Norfolk in the UK. We are back at Laguna Seca. Quite a flight. We'll be back very soon, and we will catch you on the next race day.